Hello, my name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm an addiction recovery coach and the host of the Take Your Life Back Today show. As an addiction recovery coach, I want to share something with you, and let me be crystal clear to leave an everlasting impact upon you. Just imagine being buried alive. You're in a coffin, but you know you're not dead. You don't know how to get out of that coffin. You tried lifting the lid, but the enormous weight upon the lid prevents you from opening. You then try to bang on the lid to unsettle the dirt. Maybe somebody will start digging their way down towards you. This is what it's like to find yourself at the lowest point of alcohol and drug addiction. You know you need help. You know you can't do it on your own, but you don't know where to turn. In reality, there are people probably staying right by your grave. You just don't know that. You just think you're going to die. Usually, though, people don't think about death when they're habitually abusing drugs and alcohol. In order to feed an addiction, you have to be great at repressing the fear of death. I often ask you, my audience, did it ever cross your mind while you were abusing drugs and alcohol that maybe, just maybe, you might overdose and take something away that God had given you called life? And if you don't care about your life, what about the people that really need and love you most? People like your husband, your wife, your father, your mother, brother, sister, children, even your grandchildren. With this, let me leave one last thought. Don't be like the person I just read about on these index cards that waited until it was way too late. Instead, pick up the phone and call me at 844-405-HELP and let me help you take your life back, for your life is gone. People like Larry Geis, 30 years experience as an addiction recovery coach, a life coach. Call Larry Geis at 516-458-2741. Larry Geis and I always tell folks like you, it doesn't matter where you've been, it doesn't matter where you came from. What matters is that you're here, looking for a better today and a brighter tomorrow. Larry Geis can be found at www.odysseyconsultant.org or at 516-458-2741. Larry Geis from the Geis Academy. Folks, tonight, when you take your slippers off, don't put them just by the edge of your bed. Put them under your bed. In the morning, when you go and retrieve them, you're going to have to drop to your knees to look for them under your bed. And when you retrieve them while you're on your knees, pray to God. Utilize what I call Knee-mail, K-N-E-E-mail. Knee-mail is your personal communication between you and God each and every day. That's the time where you should be asking God for guidance and direction, mercy and forgiveness. That's the time you should be thanking God for having a home, food, clothing, a relationship, husband, wife, children. That is the time when you should be asking God to protect everyone that you love so dearly and to help the poor and the hungry in the world. Each and every day, as you pray to God, each and every day, each and every week, each and every year, your life will become whole again. But it's time for you to start utilizing the power of prayer, because the power of prayer will take you to places you've never been before. Now stand stirred up and walk with God 24/7. From ex-spouse to friend, reinventing relationships after divorce. Your marital relationship is over, you say. But what about your relationship with your in-laws, their relationship with your children, or even your relationship with your ex-spouse, new lover? What is healthy and appropriate, you might ask, since no one has written the new rules and the codes of social contact for relationships engendered by divorce? We asked some experts to share their insights about it. Everyone knows at least one divorce horror story, but we seldom hear about people who have established friendly post-divorce associations with each other. Did you hear that Hugh and Liz are getting along well these days? Just isn't news anymore. Armed with their version of the divorce hell, the skeptics tell us it's impossible for a divorced couple to make peace and become friends. Well, I'm here to tell you that is totally false, it's a lie, and I am a proven fact of that. They outtalk the quiet and peaceful believers, perhaps because people who are doing just fine don't feel the need to vent. If every divorce were a war of roses, there would be blood on the streets, points out Barbara Quick, author of Still Friends. Living Happily Ever After, Even If Your Marriage Falls Apart, is a book she has written. Luckily, it's never too late to make peace. With determination and good intentions on your mind, you can overcome the anger, grief, sadness of losing a marriage, and eventually, believe it or not, achieve friendship. Whether or not you want to be friends with your ex is a decision in itself. But if you have children together, finding a common ground, finding a way to be amicable with your co-parent makes life a lot easier. Your former in-laws don't have to disappear with the marriage either, especially if you always enjoyed a good relationship with them. Unfortunately, there's no rule book for cultivating civility with your ex-spouse, your former in-laws, or even your ex-new spouse. So we asked several experts, including people who have managed to create friendly post-divorce relationship, for some guidance. And here is exactly what they said. Ex-spouse? New friend? When the divorce process has pitted you and your spouse against each other, training you to view each other as enemies, any form of future alliance can be impossible. But if you have children, your ex-spouse is still your co-parent. It's difficult for separated partners to remain productive co-parents when the legal process is making them enemies, says Lillian Messenger, a Toronto marriage counselor who specializes in post-divorce relationships. It takes a lot of maturity to make amends with the person who has torn apart your life, or who has been a monster in court. But just as it takes two to determine the marriage dynamic, it takes two to make a good or bad divorce. Quick emphasis that every couple has their own relationship dance. All you have to do is change the part in the dance that you want to dance. If you change your behavior, your relationship will change as well. Mark and Sarah, not their real names, of course, I leave that just as a fictitious name, were married for 12 years and now have been divorced for 3. The first couple of years of marriage was pretty good, but went downhill rapidly, says Sarah. For the last 6 years, we communicated in snarls all through our son Peter. A friend encouraged us to try mediation, and during the process, we started to really talk for the first time in many, many, many years. The mediator encouraged us to remember what used to be like to talk to each other as we established our co-parenting relationship, and how to listen and mind for the goal in what we said to each other. Both Sarah and Mark report that their relationship is better post-divorce than it's ever been while they were married, and I have to agree because that's how I feel. We are much better friends than we were as a couple. Some of the things that really bug you in a spouse just don't matter in a friend. For Peter's sake, we were committed to working on our co-parenting relationship and the happy side effects that came with it, which wasn't the case during our marriage. However, well or poorly you knew your former spouse, this will be an exercise at reacquaintances. Forming a relationship with your ex is entirely separate from the process of ending a marriage. If you work through the process to achieve your emotional divorce, you can cultivate something entirely new now. Your old relationship is over. Take the steps to heal that what you can invest in your energy everywhere else now. Grieving the death of a marriage is like mourning any other loss. It hurts a lot, and you get through it minute by minute. The trick is to stay on path of recovery, not stopping at the first challenge. In her research for Still Friends, Quick found that the pattern emerged among those who had successfully recovered from divorce. The process that begins with anger and grieving eventually leads to healing and forgiveness and insight. Acknowledge the stage that you are at and allow yourself to feel that what you're feeling. Don't run from your feelings. Most people get stuck in anger and grieving, says Quick, adding that everyone has a unique healing process. Some people go through it on their hands and knees, spending months at every stage. Others go through it at high speed. I suggest you go through it through the power of prayer. Healing and moving on can take years, but communicating with the ex may have to continue both during and after your divorce. If you have children, you will have to discuss the details of their lives each and every day. Whether weekly or monthly, these chats are going to develop personality. They might be draining, dreadful, stressful, infuriating, and frustrating, or they could be just fine. It all depends on you, and if you utilize the way I do it, and that is to depend on God through the power of prayer to heal all relationships. Yes, you're not married anymore. I'm not married to my ex anymore, but I am good friends with her. I can communicate now so much better than I did when I was married. Of course, a lot has to do with it, folks. It's the fact that I've been sober for years now and that I have a personal relationship with God. But even you, if you're watching me, if you have an ex and you're having issues with your ex, can find that if you dig deep inside. And the best way to dig is to start with God. You might not have addictions like I had, but there is something that's holding you back from being good friends with your husband, your ex-husband, your ex-wife. Find out today what it is, and let the power of prayer continuously thrive through you, through your ex, and through your life. And may God bless you.